Hello and welcome back to my A to Z, where this week I'm going to be playing Vampyr. I know a couple of things about this game. The first is that it's an RPG made by Don't Nod, the developer who made Life is Strange 1 and 2, and tell me why. Second is that I remember it being poorly received when it first came out, but I couldn't tell you why. So for predictions, I'm saying Hans's incredible streak of enjoyable games comes to an end right here. I don't know if the memory of it being poorly received is influencing me, but something is telling me I'm not going to have fun with this game. But I am curious what the gameplay is going to be like, since Don't Nod's other games aren't exactly known for their gameplay. But there's only one way to find out, and that's go suck some blood.
Now, I can defend myself.
I'm pretty sure my momentum's breaking in the crates rather than the actual swing itself. Well. Good thing that lantern stayed lit.
This one's dressed up fancy. Let's run through his pockets.
Also, why can I see memories of stuff?
I've still a rent to pay. He's
Hope
got
that's
more
explained later.
responsibilities.
I've so many questions unanswered.
Yep, me too. And I doubt they will be answered.
When myth walks among us, the Brotherhood of St. Paul has dedicated its purpose to their study.
Why have you stopped the boat?
Oh, Jonathan, this is one for the book, and the beginning of a beautiful friendship.
Once again, why did he stop the boat? Are we here? We're not here. He stopped the boat for no reason other than to talk, even though there's a guy dying at the front of the boat. Okay. Some doctors they are. Are you kidding me? Really? Well, that's a great feeling, isn't it? Oh.
Very lucky.
Yeah, filthy image.
You can find safety.
You know what? I didn't like his attitude. He's worth like no experience, but
Was I that evil to deserve such punishment? My only regret is that no one will mourn me, for I have never been loved.
shouldn't have been such a dick then.
Right here in front of us, a weapon of choice.
What on earth do you mean?
Why, you, my dear boy. With your expertise and your blood, we could isolate the properties that course
Alright,
through your veins.
so his grand idea to
About the
cure the flu is to use a vaccine with vampire blood. That seems like a terrible idea. That seems like it just create a load of vampires, right?
Compound the situation.
What the hell happened there?
Wants me to confess.
No, Jonathan. It's you who wants to confess, I think.
Going into a church as a vampire, always a good idea. This game has the most random load screens. Like, I just talk to someone and I'm getting a load screen. Oh, I was It's not even close. Oh, and even... Oh my god. So, it doesn't just load the last save. It actually respawns you with the same progress. So I've lost all my items because I've been using them. That's really stupid, considering I cannot leave this building to make more. So it's only going to make this fight even harder down the line. This is a very flawed design choice that I am not a fan of. This is so stupid. Just load the checkpoint with my items. Or let me leave the building. Don't save my item usage and lock the building so I can't get out. You can save my items, but you can't save the bloody puzzle. So I have to go through all this again. Well. That doesn't sound good.
Such a long time for this.
Oh, yep. Here we go.
You
Bam.
don't deserve immortality, Mr. Dawson.
Oh, I see how it is, game.
What are you prattling on about? I don't believe I've ever met a man so bereft of empathy. You, sir, are despicable.
No! Wait! You can't! I made a deal with Lord Redgrave. I'll finance whatever he wants. Please just ask him.
Sleep now. Rest now. Forever.
I would have lived forever. Who are you to decide my fate? Who gave you the authority?
Let's flip that question right,
The blood of a true defender of this land will protect me.
Oh yeah, the thing I love about video games, when the boss goes invulnerable. And it's not even like a good reason why he's invulnerable. He's literally drinking from a flask. Why does that make him immune to damage? That makes no sense. Alright, that was too easy. There's going to be a second phase, right? Yep, okay.
Is it rough? I think it is.
No one could ever defeat you, mother of us all, for you are our every root and leaf.
You've always been my most amusing son.
Then go back to sleep, my queen, and smile at us from your dreams.
Did they feel my wrath? Have they suffered enough?
More than ever, mother of us all.
Until the next time.
Until the next time.
Well.
So it's over then, young Ekon. You have put an end to this terrible menace.
One prayer for the summoned, called by this song. Child born from darkness, whose path he must find. Now the song is sung, and your path chosen. England is safe, but the cost was dire. Blood and tears, both parched by cleansing flames. You've lost your way, my champion bittersweet. I am moved to pity as I feel your rampant rage void of purpose or meaning. My queen sleeps once again, and I'll soon join her slumber, until alas she rises, woken by the hunger never fed.
That is London saved and Vampyr completed. So for this one, since it's a longer game, I'm going to split my thoughts into the positives and the negatives and dive a bit deeper into my reasoning behind them. So let's start positive. The story and setting. I'll not explain the whole story, but essentially you play as a doctor who specialises in blood. They've been turned into a vampire by a powerful unknown ancient vampire. The whole objective is to stop the epidemic, which begins as the Spanish flu, because the game's set around 1918. And as found out, in an attempt to cure it with vampire blood, a mutation of the disease is created which turns people into skulls. They are the feral vampires. In the end, it turns out the big bad is Morgan, the Red Queen, who caused the whole disaster. I actually like this story. It's a solid build-up, not completely sold on the epilogue. I get why it's there, just to add the final pieces to the puzzle. But it just kind of felt a bit meh after the final boss fight and the build up to that. The setting is really interesting. I don't know of many games that take place around this era that don't have World War I as their main story piece. Also, it's a bit meta that I played this game set during a pandemic, during another global pandemic. I also like how the various districts are set up within the game. So you have to actively choose to engage with them to keep it healthy, and stop them descending into chaos where you'll be attacked on every street within that district kind of thing. Keep them healthy by handing out medication to the sick, keeping the pillars of the community alive and active. Personally, I only really engaged with the hospital district since I figured it would be acting as the main hub of the game, but I did like the choices to be made. Do you sacrifice the health of a district to get more experience, to get stronger from drinking the blood of civilians? Or do you give up the power to keep the district healthy? Since I was only focusing on the hospital district, I did drink the blood of civilians from other districts, and they did descend into chaos, where there was a crap ton of vampire hunters out and a crap ton of skulls. So for the final positive, and you'll notice there's not a lot of positives, I really liked the music. It definitely fits with the setting and the tone of the game. Also, the voice acting was pretty good. So with all the positives out of the way, it's time for the negatives. Let's start with the big one. The combat. Man, was it grim. Honestly, if there wasn't so much combat, I could see myself totally loving this game. But sadly, every encounter chipped away at my enjoyment. There was quite a few weapons you could use, but I found that using a weapon that could do stun damage was way too valuable. As once you stun an enemy, you can bite them, which restores health and blood, and you can upgrade how much health and blood you get. Blood is the game's resource for skill usage, so it basically became the bar for my healing, because I really only used the heal ability later in the game. So I felt limited by the weapons, even though there seems to be a decent variety. Ended up going all in on a 200 mace since it did big damage and big damage to the stun meter. The skills also felt pretty underwhelming. You can have 4 plus an ultimate, and like I said, I used the healing a lot, so it felt way too important to replace, so I ignored the other options. I can't even remember what they are. The offense one I picked was the Blood Spear, just to try and mix up my damage types. I used it quite a bit in the early game, but the further I got, the more useless it felt, and I didn't want to invest experience points into upgrading it, because I noticed that a lot of bosses and later enemies had blood resistance, so it kind of felt useless. Also, it uses blood, which would then take away from the amount of healing I could do in a fight. I had a Shadow Dash thing, which was supposed to do shadow damage whenever I landed at an enemy, but I never saw enemies take damage from it. I had a shield that would stop 2 hits. Originally it stops 1, but I upgraded it to 2. I thought this would be quite useful, but it proved to be a bit weird. I thought it would only stop direct damage, so something from an attack, but it also blocks dots and environmental damage. So in a fight I would pop it on, thinking okay, I'll interrupt this combo, only for it to fall off because the dot ticked twice really quickly. So that felt pretty bad. So for the ultimate I picked like the big stun shadow thing because I'm trying to mix up my damage type. And I noticed that a lot of the bosses took reduced damage from shadow, so that didn't feel great. But it proved as a nice stun lock to cheese a lot of the fights. For the enemies, they just felt really inconsistent and sometimes a bit broken. I noticed some of them could like warp the entire screen to land a combo on you, especially for the final hit. I noticed a lot of enemies just like floating along the ground to make sure they connect with you. Sometimes you can hit them out of the combos and they'll get staggered with your hits. Other times they'll just shrug it off and just continue their combo. So very inconsistent in that regard. The targeting felt a bit jank. Sometimes it would just drop off completely, like I just stopped targeting things. I don't know why. And speaking of jank, the dodging in combination with the camera while you're targeting, it didn't feel great. I felt like there was a good chance of getting stuck on something or between enemies. And for a being that can like warp essentially, felt a bit weird getting stuck on stuff and not being able to dodge past enemies. So yeah, in summary, hated the combat. So of course the game has a lot of it. You know what else I hated? The respawn system. And I know why they did it. It's there so you can carry over all the experience you earned before you died. But I would rather they just straight up reloaded the checkpoint or the last autosave. Because fighting a boss and using items should not be punished as heavily as this game punished you. The fact that if you use all your items in a boss fight and then die, say you die in the last 5% or something, all your item usage persists between deaths. I just don't get it. In one instance, I figured, okay, just used all my items in that last fight, guess I'll go make more. Only to find out you can't go make more because all the bloody doors outside are locked. So the game punished me for using the items it wants me to use. Even if you leave, you have to run all the way back to your crafting table to make more of the item. Some of the boss arenas are so far away from safe houses, it can take ages running there and running back just to craft some health potions or blood potions. Just make me reload the goddamn autosave. And the final thing I want to talk about is the experience system. So you can upgrade abilities and stuff by sleeping in a bed. You can put your experience points into upgrading your abilities, unlocking new abilities, all that stuff. But that's not the problem. The thing that I don't get is you get like a massive influx of experience, sometimes a couple of thousand experience points, which is a lot of upgrades early on, from drinking the blood of civilians. But what I don't understand, and I'm pretty sure it was never explained in the game, is why you don't get the same amount of experience points from drinking the blood of the vampire hunters. Because they're human too. You can bite them in combat. Sure, you get small amounts of experience for killing stuff, but what's the difference? It can't be that you don't talk to them, because you can straight up mesmerize people without knowing anything about them early on. Are you going to grind through combat, or are you going to sacrifice civilians to power yourself up? It just felt you were forced into that choice without really having an explanation as to why you couldn't drink the blood of these hunters. If there was an explanation, and maybe I've missed it, but it would make it feel less bad that you don't get as much experience from them, if that makes sense. So let's wrap Vampyr up and talk about my predictions. This time round, I reckoned Hans's amazing streak of picking enjoyable games for me had come to an end. And I was right. And I'm not happy about being right. And I'm kinda disappointed. The combat is the biggest thing that drags this game down for me. But I could see this game working with the same gameplay as the Life is Strange games. Just changing some story aspects to remove the combat. Or have it happen occasionally, limited to the boss fights. Give set powers and equipment for dealing with that fight. because I actually liked the story and the setting. They really carried the game. It's just they couldn't carry the game far enough for me to enjoy it. So on the Alex enjoyment rating, it's getting self-immolated.
And farewell.
Wait! No!
If I had £1 for every vampire woman who set themselves on fire in front of me, I'd have £2. Which isn't a lot, but it's weird it's happened twice. Anyway, we're here to find out what I'll be playing for W. And as always, I am joined by Nick.
Yo!
And Hans.
What about you?
No idea why he's playing host this week. So what are we doing today, Nick?
We're smashing.
Nope.
Alright.
What?
Gotta be a better way to
Can I not
that.
phrase it like that? Am I not allowed to phrase it like that? Yes. To celebrate the release.
Really? Is that
Yeah.
what you're doing?
Okay.
The obviously recent release. God knows what this goes on.
This is good. To
Dating this episode massively right now. To celebrate the release of Kingdom Hearts Sora to Smash Bros. We gonna have an all Soras. So let's start with IOI's game because sure. And he can be Kingdom Hearts 1 Sora.
Nick, what is IY's game?
IOI's game is We Happy Few.
Oh, well, can't pick that one now.
Yeah, I also can't pick that one.
Alright. Who wants to go? Who has fewer games left now to pick?
I have one.
I also have one. I swear to God,
Alright.
Hans. I swear to God.
What is your game? And you will be Kingdom Hearts 2 Sora.
Nick, I have picked Wasteland 3.
Okay.
Hans,
Alex.
I finished that earlier this year, man.
Well, that's the downside of this series, Alex.
Yeah. Okay.
Alex, and you will be Kingdom Hearts 3D Sora.
This is going to be really hard to tell apart.
Yes. What is your game, Alex?
Mine is Wolfenstein Youngblood.
Okay. And finally, me and I will be Steamboat Sora. And I have picked World of Final Fantasy. It's really time to pick World of Warcraft. So, are you ready?
Yep.
So, from left to right, it is RY, Hans, Alex, myself. Let's do it.
Between mine and Alex's Sora, other than the red hood, is there really much difference?
I think so.
He's got a little bit more red on him, and that's about it.
Okay.
Well, he just went in the Kingdom Hearts.
Is that how you use a key?
Yep.
You fire a laser from it?
Can you not open your house from like the other end of your driveway now?
No.
And then
I can.
send someone to the spirit realm.
Oh,
Honey.
what's with theirs?
Shit.
Oh, shit!
Wow.
Oh, the triple final smash! It would be so on brand if the one thing I win is because of Sora. It would be incredibly on brand.
Oh. Someone. Oh, damn it.
Everyone down to one star,
Nick!
apart from me. Hans,
Nick!
don't get my hopes up.
Hey man, you
Oh.
picked Final Fantasy. Of course you're gonna win, right?
Oh man! The fake smash ball just took out two people.
The favorites. Two favorites are out. C1, C2 out. Nick.
Oh, he's
Oh,
hit it.
Nick! You can have it!
Oh my god.
Oh, it didn't
Oh.
kill. It didn't kill.
No, but you can get him on the recovery. You just summon a ponytail.
No, that's not funny. What the fuck?
I
Come on.
thought it was My Little Pony.
Yeah!
There, Kaz.
Wow.
Don't change that
The
dial.
boy has done me good. Look at that butt.
Well, Final Fantasy World, huh? Or World
Of
Fantasy.
Final Fantasy.
What
Let's
the fuck is that?
It wouldn't make
Look at-
sense if it was Final Fantasy World Hands, because then he wouldn't be able to pick it.
six KOs. Jesus, guys, do something. So there you go, Alec. You'll be playing World of Final Fantasy. Are you ready to stack some characters?
Hell yeah. I love Final Fantasy. Let's go. So join me next time where I'll be joining the world of Final Fantasy.